we all stand and do the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are you guys slow or what today?
Yeah.
I'm saying it with meaning.
Oh, that's what I.
Can you call the roll, please, when you
Kamala
Oh,
get a
says she
chance?
said it with meaning.
Joyfully, I'm saying it
Gonna be on
joyfully.
TV at 5 o'clock today.
Patrick,
I know, it's
Here.
on the calendar.
Bruner,
Here.
Ellis,
Here,
Farnham,
I voted for it.
Lawton,
Here.
Ludington,
Here.
Voight.
Here. Well, this meeting is for the sole purpose of looking at the budget and discussing it. Did you happen to bring the first page of the levy with you?
The first page or the last page?
The first or whatever page it is. If you got the whole levy, thought we'd pass that out today, you can start looking at that.
Okay.
And then we can discuss that on Monday. Go ahead, Augie.
Yeah, I didn't
That's fine.
make copies, but I go make copies.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, I
Oh.
didn't know.
Well, I just thought it'd be nice if we,
Yeah.
it is not a final document, it's just one you can look at.
That's the one you want? Or
Yes.
that one you just told me to increase this number?
Yeah, no, this is fine right
Okay.
here. That's gonna tell them everything they
It'll take
need
but
to
a
know. And it's not carved in stone in any way, shape, or form. You'll have to decide what we wanna do here.
Once over.
So, but first of all, I wanna ask if there's any public comment. And if somebody comes in later, I'll ask them for their comment, if somebody comes in, okay? Hearing none, we'll just go on and this is, I think, about the third draft of the budget. I haven't totally collected, or had it corrected, in the computer, but, the main thing we've been working on, there's a few tweaks here and there on the budget in other departments, but the main one we've been working on is the sheriff's department. Because that one, basically, when we got it, Carl, wasn't it 2.3 million? And,
Almost 2.4.
Almost.
Well, but then he had some clerk errors,
yeah,
so it
But-
made it
yeah.
about 2-3. Yeah.
2.3.
Yes.
So, you'll know when we get to that, you might notice, and we've got some changes in there. We met with the sheriff and staff. Oh, yes. We met with sheriff and staff, and we've made some cuts. We've made some cuts.
That's your address?
Oh,
Oh, I'm sorry.
I need one eventually, but we're fine.
Does everybody have one?
Thanks.
I emailed yours last night.
Oh, that's fine. I know what it is. Well, I know what it says. At any rate, I thought we'd go through the department. You've had this for what, a week plus. Are there any questions on the first 3 pages?
Yeah, down at the bottom on City of Paris Animal Control, 5,000, is that money we pay out or we get, it comes in?
It comes in from the city. They pay us $5,000 a year towards our budget.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay.
But the first 3 pages are basically income. I would like to note that on page 3 at the very bottom it says transfer in reimbursement of expenses. And next year we're calling for $863,000 in transfers. That does include at least $500,000 from the safety tax. Okay? We'll just have to see how the year winds up and what we need to pull in. Okay?
how much did you say?
At least $500,000.
And the transfer from rabies, taken out of the
That's
animal
taken,
shelter budget.
no, it comes, when you get this sheet every month,
Okay,
it comes out of the top where it says Fund 814, which is rabies, and the dog fund.
Okay.
Those are
That's what
fees
she
that are paid.
charges.
Yes.
Okay.
And then she also gets money into the pet control, which has money in it also. It has $8,800 in it right now. But we try not to take money out of that,
Okay.
okay?
Question for you.
Yes.
On the DCEO grant, that's the one that we had talked about, that we didn't get the grant that we had anticipated.
Correct.
We also didn't spend the money, right?
That's correct.
So are we anticipating a $50,000 one?
Possibly, yes.
That will be dedicated to,
Communications.
who applies for that one?
That, we got a call from state senator and telling us that we had the money, so, between, Josh and I, we worked that with, Chapin Rose's people and get that worked out.
Fire,
Right,
yeah.
yeah. And then on the top of page 4, it shows you what's being paid out of the funds. You know, general, administrative. And of course, capital improvement would be the communication funds that we've got coming in from DCEO, okay? So we got 50 coming in and 50 going out, okay? It's Rick Stewart, hang on a second. Yes, Rick? That's fine, I just wanted to know if we'd heard anything on the agreement. That's fine. Let us know, okay? Thank you. Nothing yet. He's gonna reach out to their folks. Clerk, I'm just moving on. We can always go back to things. I mean, this is very informal. If something hits you and you need to have a question answered, for example, county clerk, he's actually, and remember, there's less elections this year, so he's gonna go up and down, but this year, or last year, it was 272, and this year, next year, he's gonna be at 244. But that's, so you guys know, just varies on how the elections line up, what he's required to purchase, because of certain requirements for safety and voter security and all the other things that happen. The treasurer, he's gonna, roughly everybody used roughly a 3% deal on what they were gonna do. We did not tell him to do that, okay? But he's up about $4,000, $4,500, which when you look at his budget and how many people he has working, as far as dollars for the budget, that's in line. Supervisor of assessment recently lost one of her people. She's got, but her budget is within, what, $2,000 of what it was last year. And she does not at this point plan to expand her staff or add somebody back in. She's literally taken what's going on in her office and divided, talked to her people, and they divided up Nancy's duties, okay? She has bumped a couple of her senior people up a little bit more than 3%, but that's due to their experience in taking on extra duties. So, but she's still within a couple of grand. Probation, we don't have much control over. The budget is approved by a state officer that works for the Department of Probation and Corrections. So that's worked out with them. And then that's tied back to page 1, where you see the fourth from the bottom, item number 4220 says reimbursement for salaries and benefits, and you can see where the state is reimbursing us roughly $252,000 of the budget, which is
337.
right, 337. So we don't get a free ride, but we get a substantial free ride. State's attorney, we don't control what the state's attorney makes. We get 90% of what he, and that's on page 1, we get 90% back of what they pay him. Every year he gets an increase, or he or she gets an increase in the first of the calendar or fiscal year of the state, which is July 1. I didn't argue much with the state's attorney on what he was paying his assistant and his office deputies. I don't know how else to do that. He's got an increase of about 30 grand. But a lot of that comes from his assistant and keeping the legal secretaries in line with what the judges pay and probation pays. So, and I didn't figure going in and pounding the table on the judges. And if you're watching that, that's a little humor, it wasn't. So, and we've gotten killed over the years, just so you'll know, you're gonna come up on court or not probation, but the state's attorney, and things happen where they need to hire experts. We could have, what was that, 5 or 6 years ago, we had a child, and I mean, it ran into tens of thousands of dollars extra. And we have no control over it, and the legal system has to operate in a way that protects the guilty and the innocent, I mean, the suspects and the victims, so.
And that comes back through our general fund, there's no reimbursement for any of that.
Nope, not at this point. Then we start the sheriff's budget. I'd like to note on the second page of our page 10, that we have already, on the sheriff's deputies, which is down where you see the 65.5, we have cut, at this point, 1 deputy, and so it would be from 8 down to 7. Now, there's a risk both ways. We just wanted to show that. I mean, that's totally the call of all 7 of us in consultation with the sheriff. But I don't know what else we can do at this point. Carl, did you want to speak to that?
Well, I remember back a year or more ago, we approved adding that additional deputy. But when we did that, it was specifically so the sheriff could hire the deputy to be the school resource officer at Shiloh.
Correct.
And we also had an agreement with Shiloh that they were paying his salary. So that was
For the whole year, we supplied
right,
the benefits and so forth in the police car.
right. And then he was there for a few months, and then he left to go to Douglas County, and he didn't ever fill that school resource. That's part of why we gave that extra deputy. So we're just going kind of back to where we were.
And on page 2, you can see about 2/3 of the 3/4 of the way down, Shiloh reimbursement. That'd be $43.75. We've got $57,000 in there because it happened at the beginning of the fiscal year last year, that we're currently in, and we're not collecting anything from that.
Right.
So they currently operate with 7 and they're just gonna stay with 7.
Yes. Because that one officer resigned, this summer, and then within a month, they hired another deputy to replace him. So they're at the 7. Of course, then they got, one of the sergeant, he was involved in a car accident this past spring, and he hadn't come back to work yet.
He had surgery last week, by the way.
Right.
I guess we gotta be a little careful here, I'm sorry.
But, so, they still they have 7 on the pay, on the staff, but, Adam is not currently working.
Now, they have eliminated, Matt told me that they have eliminated 1 day shift.
Right.
And that's gonna be covered by himself, meaning Matt, and the other officer that they have. So,
Sheriff, and, they got a detective, they've got extra people on the day shift that,
Right.
if something happens, they can drop, their administrative stuff and go help on the road, and that's how it's always been done.
right,
So where are they on here?
who's that?
I mean, I see chief deputy, but, like the detective
Well, they're part of the sheriff deputies.
in the deputies, okay.
Yeah, 50-15. Then the dispatchers last spring asked us to expand the number of dispatchers from 5 to 6 because they were wore out, they were tired of even overtime. And I gotta be careful how I say this because they could be watching too, so. But at any rate, we reached an agreement that we would do a 6th dispatcher if they allowed us to have a training shift and allowed us to, Carl, what else was there?
Training shift, and they were gonna change the schedule a little bit because there was at least 2 open shifts, and then their part-time was working a shift. And that 6th person was gonna cover those 3 that we were paying, 2 of them at overtime and then the part-time. And then, that was agreement, they were happy and thanked us and everything, and that still, they haven't signed the memorandum of understanding. We never haven't been able to, even though we hired that person, they're in training, and they're not filling any of those shifts that we agreed to. So, we're, at this point, I don't know whether it's gonna get signed or not, so we're considering eliminating that position.
Yep. I mean, if they're not gonna live up to what we agreed together to do, we've sent a new memorandum of understanding with a slightly different wording, which, we can debate that, but at any rate, and if they don't respond to it, then we're gonna have to pull the plug on the
Right.
6th dispatcher. It's that simple. So. Then you'll notice the next 6 items right there are cuts that we've done in consultation. Not that I'm saying that the sheriff agrees with them, but we have looked at what was on the budget, and that's what we've come up with all the way through, even the next page, page 11. And those cuts add up to about $109,200. But if you look like if they would sign the memorandum of understanding, that would pump another 56,000 back into the deal and make the budget about even. So we've got to pay attention to all of that.
So, question on that. So, sheriff's deputies part-time, those are the ones that just work, like, at the fair, extra
No,
activities, or we
they've got 2 or 3 part-time people.
Troyes and
They're working every week. There's a part-time person that at least one, sometimes two or three, were covering shifts for the road deputies. It's not just for the fair. I mean,
Okay.
they're actually covering one of the shifts, you know, cause, you know, people get sick, they have time off,
Doctor's
Yeah.
appointments,
Gotcha.
you know,
whatever.
vacation.
I noticed one of them was working last Thursday
Mhm, yeah.
during the day,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
all day.
they've got several of them on day shift.
And I assume
And
that,
some night shift, yeah,
Yeah.
and weekend, you know, just, they utilize them quite a bit, and, you know,
And we still have,
and you're paying them at whatever, you know, 20 versus overtime 40.
right, well, that was where I was going with
Right.
this. So we have, even though we have, some deputies to share the load, we still end up with 130,000 in overtime.
Yep.
And everybody's in a, I'm asking, not judging. Everybody, right, everybody's in agreement that not paying an additional deputy would be worse than paying 130,000 in overtime.
we have been through that issue.
I
Every
don't
year.
doubt it, I just needed to hear
We
it.
just, we give them an officer, and guess what?
The
The
overtime
overtime
stays.
grows,
Yeah,
or it stays the same.
Stays the same.
Never
And
seen-
it's been like that through 3 sheriffs.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
Okay.
Yeah.
not,
yeah, it's just. what it
And I
is.
know you've said sometimes it's just the fact that something's happening at the end of the shift and you end up having to stay over, and I get those kinds
Right.
of things.
well, right
Mike?
now, even though we're being reimbursed for it, which is not in here, by the way, in the new budget, probably we should put a line item in there. We have 33,000 coming back from our deputy that's been hurt and off. But at the same time, we're having to work somebody either overtime or hire them extra to cover that. You know, and we feel bad, I mean, the guy that we're talking about has been injured before, I mean, and he wants to work, I mean, he's a good man. And there's no ways other than that, and we just feel bad for him that he winds up getting hurt by one of the citizens. So,
You know, that's his second wreck. I
Yeah.
thought about it.
yeah, he was, and he basically said, I'm going back to work
Right.
on the first one.
Mhm.
I mean, they were gonna drag that out. Of course, I imagine, well,
Fixed the one car and the next week, there was another one in there.
yep. But at any rate, we have been, these aren't necessarily something that we came out of the air with. It's just we're looking at what's reasonable and what we think. I mean, a budget is only a guideline, so. Kinda like the pirate code. Never mind. Oh, I did, on the page 11, if you look at auto purchasing, which is 7043. You guys, I called up the bank, got what was owed this year. There's nothing owed anymore this year. We don't owe anything till December 1st. December 17th, we owe X amount, and then after the first of the year, we owe X amount, and then next May, we owe X amount. And if you add those all together, it's 76,000 some odd dollars, and I just rounded it off to 77.
So that's
We
not
don't-
purchasing any.
That
that's
we're
just
not
paying
purchasing
what we
any
have.
more vehicles, at this point in this coming fiscal year. So, and we've got, we've asked the department to get us a list of the squad cars and the mileage on them. Okay, I have not received that yet, okay?
Question,
Yes,
going back to page prior where it's, office supplies, equipment, furniture. So anything new for the new building will just come out of a different fund.
absolutely. That's why we
This is
cut
just
that,
existing.
because, you know, there may be something that has to be replaced, but there's plenty of money sitting in the jail budget for outfitting the offices and other things, the needs of the jail. Public defender, again, we get 66%. And I didn't mention that, the sheriff and the public defender, we get 66.6666% back from the state of Illinois. Again, the state sets their salary. Again, they get a raise set by the state as of July 1st. Defender staff, again, we kept our hands off of it and let them decide in keeping all the offices, state's attorney, judges, and so forth in here, so. Then you got, public defender, which would be, for, what would they call that? That's conflict attorneys, where there's a conflict and they need a second public defender, and that's what that's for. That 40 grand. The reason that it was 179,000 last year was somehow it got the state's attorney's salary along with the public defender, conflict attorney was combined, and we separated it. So you can see exactly what's being spent for both, okay? Remember, postage went up. You notice postages in most budgets, whether it be Augie's or the treasurer or the public defender, we're up to what, 72 or 73 cents?
Well, I think it's still 69,
60.
but we've had 2 increases this last year.
Well, I
In one
think
year,
it's,
we had two, really?
Yeah,
I think it's supposed to go up to 72.
and it's supposed to go over 70
Yeah,
Next year.
soon, yeah.
well,
Really?
yeah, probably in
Okay.
January. I know, it's nuts.
I thought it just
Yeah,
said forever.
Hell, when
I know, they lie.
Don't know what.
when Dan was mailing letters early on, it's probably a penny.
I remember 2 cents.
Yeah,
I remember.
Really?
I remember 5.
I remember
I
1
remember
cent postcards. 1
Oh,
cent.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I still got some.
Yep.
They're
Well, that
collector's
blows up.
items.
Yeah, you wanna buy some?
Well, I'm sure that they need to.
Okay, then we got the board of review. Again, that's 3 people that we appoint, and they hear disputes on tax levy, or tax evaluation. And it was amazing, by the way, with all of the changes and everything that happened, they really didn't have,
Yeah.
I mean, I was surprised. They actually had fewer this year. I think only 3 or 4 went to the state. I mean, it was a very mild year considering the equalized assessed value took a $300,000 jump, you know, well, it's not quite that much, 150,000. So, okay. County board, a little bit more. Animal shelter, again, nothing wild. In fact, she didn't put any extra in for, well, the salaries just didn't change a whole lot. The whole budget went up about $2,000. Let's see.
Dan, I got a question. Is
Yes.
that gentleman that was working part-time still working? I didn't-
Not, he's got some problems, but
Okay.
PTSD and
And they,
sick
Yeah.
some, and, yeah,
health issues,
he's still working.
okay, good deal.
Still working some.
As the budget, it's up, well, actually, it's down a few dollars, but a lot of that is due to the equipment purchasing that we did this past year. In fact, that's where it is. But we got a lot done with them. Their budget has grown by roughly 33% in the past several years because of the commitment the board has made to making it better prepared and more, I guess, more effective. We still, I don't think we'll ever get to the point where we go, that's all we need to do, but, I mean, you know, she did that, Jill did that, she went around and called and asked every department, as the department in the area, a list of questions. And we kinda saw where we were, and we've accomplished most of that. I should drag that out one of these days, I'm sure she has a copy of it too, but the commitment in budget, staff, equipment, I think we've really made a good effort there. By the way, we went, was thinking about ESDA, communications wise, we took total control of the radio station tower yesterday. We got the keys, several of us looked at the place. It's pretty decent,
Yeah.
actually. And we talked to, the folks here, and as soon as they can, they're gonna get out there and clear some of the debris in the, the old towers, or the old, what do they call those?
Dish.
Dishes and the foliage, so that we have a better grasp of that. So, we're moving forward on that.
We, okay to go ahead and put a light out there, just
Security line.
a security light.
Yeah, cause there's been some.
There are
tests.
people who messed with stuff. That's one reason I wanna get rid of some of those trees to where, right now, you could pull back in there and park, and no one know you're back there, snipping copper.
But that will, we hope, I mean, the final, decision or what we accomplish will be to see what happens when we raise the two antennas for 911, ESDA, and of course, the sheriff's department. We're hoping that the communications in the county will improve. You hear the 911 board talk about simulcast. We're hoping that their bigger project, tying all the towers together, might not be necessary. We won't know right away, but, that's got a $250,000 price tag, which we thought was difficult to explain. But, maybe this will help us in, 911 is gonna go up to almost 500 feet, I think it's 475, and the sheriff's department's gonna go up to 450, 427 or 450, I forget which is quite a jump for them, so hopefully that will help.
Should we have put a rent cost in for ESDA?
You'll get to that,
Okay.
but yes, but it's,
Okay.
next we've got, let's see, airport, and, that's pretty much there. In fact, it went down a couple of grand because we were able to pay off some stuff that we had, time payments on, so we were able to drop some of the maintenance of equipment. Of course, we made some changes in electrical and phone, so
Did you get the runway done?
it is done, but and the water is out of it, but the, Voights is gonna go out there, believe it or not, with a drill. And drill holes every so often in the runway, and when they do, it goes pushes air out of it. So they're trying to figure that out, so.
Has air in it?
Well, it has voids,
Has
and
what?
voids,
No, okay.
which used to have water and now it doesn't have water
Okay.
anymore, so. It's just one friggin' thing after another. That's a technical term, friggin'.
Okay,
But yes.
okay.
And the next project is gonna be for controls and then the new windsock. Those
You
are
what?
windsock.
Oh, okay. I don't have my hearing aid in.
What?
Can I borrow it?
Jeez, we're all in such great shape.
Doesn't matter, you people.
All right. Let's see, we got building and grounds there. And you see the janitor, we got supplies, building and grounds maintenance, and then a memorial. So, I'm not sure why memorial came out 2,058, it should not have. It should have come out of 300. So we're gonna have to look at that, Augie. Remember that bill from,
Crocklin?
yeah, it should have come out of 300. You and I talked about that.
What's 300?
It's a fund that has got about 20-some thousand in it, I think, that was from donations that Berlin was able to secure.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where it's supposed to come out of. I just noticed that.
I saw it was on this bills that we approved
Yeah.
last week.
And I had talked to the treasurer's office and somehow it doesn't matter, it can be adjusted. It's not a huge deal. That
So
stuff.
where's salary, where's Ray's salary?
Well, Ray would be in 5076, I'm not exactly sure, or whether he's being taken out of 7005. I'm thinking it's probably 5076. He doesn't work a whole lot.
Really?
No,
He just comes in the morning.
and it's, I'm not sure I don't wanna say it on, I'm not sure he always, I think he's a very dedicated guy, let's put it that way, okay?
Yeah, that's
If he
really,
has to, if he's driving by and he sees something,
Yeah.
he takes care of
if you
it.
got a guy that's that dedicated and our courthouse is that big and that complicated,
Well, remember all of
The cleaning and stuff is
he doesn't do that.
HRC.
right, and that is coming out of the 7005 budget or
Mhm.
line?
Yeah, 7,005.
Wow.
And what we spent last year is gonna drop, cause I'm gonna reassign that to other things. We've got money in the dedicated funds where roughly 16,000 can come out of there, so. Administrative is,
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
On the HRC, the cleaning, do they do the new government center and the courthouse? Is there anything, but just those two?
I think that's it, isn't
And
it?
they, first,
Just those two.
yeah,
Who does this?
HRC. They have individuals that they help and
Right, oh,
Right.
yeah, I'm well
Okay.
familiar.
All right.
But they do this in the government center
they do
and the
not do
courthouse.
here.
That's all.
They do,
Who does this?
that's,
an individual,
Yeah, and then
yeah, I don't know who it is, but
it's
they,
on
we,
their claim sheet every.
right,
I
right.
see. Okay.
did I answer your question, Carl?
Mhm, yes.
Okay. All right, then we've got just general administrative health opt-outs, CIPS, water, well, you can go down the list. Remember that our health insurance went up about 9.9%. So that's where we are on that one. HSA has gone up some because we went, and so is opt-out, because we went from 1250 to 1500 last year. Audit. We got the final bill, where we get 3,300 roughly.
Yep.
So the audit final is gonna be about 55,000.
And what was the bid? Just roughly?
65,
I wanna say,
6.
well, that's
Or-
total, but the top three were 5875? I don't remember. Maybe it was 6,000.
Okay.
I'll find out and get back to you.
Yeah, we may have to adjust that up a little bit. Let's see, just,
The regional superintendent of schools,
yes.
we have to contribute to that, the county,
Yep.
I mean, our area,
Yeah,
or
there's like 7 or 8
Seven.
counties, 7,
seven counties,
yeah.
okay.
And they set the budget, and Bill is our representative to
We're
them.
about fourth. Coles is 2 or 3 times larger, and there's a couple more, we're about 3rd or 4th in line for amount.
Okay.
So they send us a bill like once a year? we
Twice a
send-
Twice a year.
Twice a year, just then we get a percentage of our, based on population or kids or something.
I think
Yeah.
it's kids,
Yeah, okay.
students enrollment,
Yeah.
something like
Right.
that. And then, okay, then I added building leases there were $12,700.
Right.
It didn't come through right there. Building lease.
No,
That's the
I
real
wasn't
bold
there yet.
writing there.
What's property tax financial contribution?
Well, that's all of our systems that we use to maintain our financials.
Okay.
Harris. And the, some of those bills are also paid by the,
GIS?
yes, thank you, by GIS, about 15,000. We reevaluate the cost based upon what GIS does, and then it comes out of the GIS fund. Then we got, let's see, the coroner. And he's about $7,000 less, but we promised him a couple of years ago that we would add auto purchasing, help him that 1 year, which we did, and then no longer gonna help. So I guess if you take the 15 off the 60 and then look at what he's pretty close to where he was.
Sorry, go back, add building leases.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that is $600 for
As
ESDA, and there's an increase of 1%. That accommodates 1%, and then I kept $500 in for the sheriff's office there on, out there. And I had terminated that, probably, I think I allowed enough for September of next year, because it won't be a complete year out there, because they'll be moving into the jail. We
Do they use that a lot?
Yes, yes, they do.
Because of the space or because of the location?
Space. That's my opinion. They just don't have any place up in the,
Right, yeah, there's no place for the deputies.
I've seen their cars there more often this year than I did last.
They were shooting a gun off one year in the backyard, into the ground. Yeah, I don't know what he's testing for, but one of them was shooting the gun off. Not to bother anybody.
I think that's against the law.
okay, then you got HR on page 18. Did I miss it? No, wait a minute, I missed IT, sorry. IT's there at the bottom. And since the phone system's changed, one of the big things was he had phone maintenance in the previous ones, and that comes out of, now that it's all done, it comes out of administrative, so we've been able to economize there.
Does he have a part-time person helping?
He's about ready to hire one. He actually found, what do you have, three good to select?
Okay.
So they'll be talking, we're talking about 18, 20 hours a week.
I knew he used to, and I didn't know whether he'd
Yeah, the
replaced
kid,
him yet.
kid went off to school,
Yeah,
so. And then we got HR, that would be Nancy, that's not what she's starting at, but we're looking for her to, you know, we've said we'd look at her and once she gets her feet on the ground and gets working. And of course, Josephine Myers is the folks that buy unsold taxes and then market those, and then they get a certain amount back. So, basically what that does is, hang on, I gotta catch the right page. With those adjustments, and not adding back anybody in the sheriff's department, the budget is plus 51,841 with the stuff that's written in. That's 51,841 plus. Instead of a negative 52,659.
Unless you add one of those.
Yeah, then we're gonna have to take a look at everything fresh. Or if you've got some ideas or some concerns about other parts, we'll talk about this again on Monday morning. And we need to look at this. If you disagree with that, we're gonna have to do a lot of work.
The general county tax,
Oh, I know.
I guess I don't understand, like that 21, is that for this coming year?
That is, hang on. I just put it away, I'm sorry. Here it is. Okay, the year that we're now in, we collected, $995,009.17.
Mhm.
And that rate was 0.215, 21.5 cents. We're legally, what we've been running is about 26 or 27 cents. And since the equalized assessed value went up so much, it dropped the rate substantially. And that's why the rate is now 21.5.
So what was it, the previous year?
The previous year was,
You said 21,
well, it's 21 the year we're currently in. We collected from 23, we collected 24. In 24, we collected
Right.
20, and we just got that, we're still getting that money. That was at 21.5 cents. In the previous years, do you have any of those here?
I don't have.
Yes, they were like 0.26,
Yeah,
something like that.
so it's a lot less than what it was.
Yeah. Because there's
Yeah.
the,
Yeah, I got that. Like last year, a lot of people had a 10% increase in their
yeah,
value. and
some of them
stuff.
17, some
Right.
of them 21%.
So
I got, yeah, and I've got a couple other counties. Most counties in their combined funds like this are running, see, we're running 0.9. Most of them run 10 to 11 cents. And we're running 0.9.
Well, I had a couple people say something to me about the tax levy, you know, because this past summer, you know, the big increase, and said, you guys aren't gonna raise it again. And I said, I'm not sure, and actually we're less.
Well,
Well,
we won't be.
the rate,
The rate will go up to almost 10 cents for a total. It'll be 1.05 or 4. If you pass this, the new rate for 24, collectible in 25, will be $1.04. It'll go up 10 cents, 10.4 cents.
okay.
And
Okay,
actually, they didn't save money, their rate dropped, but they didn't pay less taxes last year,
Correct.
I paid
okay?
more.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? And, go ahead,
So in this coming year,
they're gonna be paying a lot more.
at this rate, how much?
No, that rate, it'll be at 2.55. The, general fund rate will be at 2.55. The bottom rate total will be at 1.04, roughly.
You mean, like at the total here?
Yeah,
The nine-
next year will be 1.04, roughly.
And this year it was 9.90.
Right.
On the ambulance service, since we didn't give them anything up to May, did we collect 325,000 total for this year on the ambulance service? Since they did not want any money up till May, and then from May on, we started paying.
We're
again
paying them the 325,000 right now.
for the whole year of 24.
Yeah, collectible in 23, we started paying them in May of 24, we started paying them
Okay,
325,000,
right.
okay?
And the
But
contract
that would
is,
be only, it shouldn't be only half a year, right? But they didn't charge anything up through May. So we should only have to pay them half of it.
Well, but our contract ends in May,
Right.
or April
So it's a
30th.
full year.
So they're gonna get a full year, and then after that, on May 1 of 25, it goes up to 330,000.
Do we give them a receipt?
We give them a receipt,
I wanna
where
know
it's
when-
for, when it's for,
Yeah.
and remember, we do the contracts totally different, okay? So they can't, yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
so if for the second half of 2025 and the first half of 2026, it's 330,000,
Right.
uh,
Why is it
why is it
350?
350?
To pay off that, I can't really say.
Okay,
It has to do with the lawsuit that we
Gotcha.
have yet to
Settle.
settle. Although we should have everything, that the attorney said we should have everything to pass at our meeting, okay?
so we may not have to do,
Oh, yeah, we'll have to do that, if everything goes through the way we thought it would,
okay.
okay? Otherwise, it'll be a totally different situation. Carl, do you
I'm
understand?
starting to understand a little bit now. I noticed tort immunity tax went
Yeah.
up, and that's to pay for the big increase we had in our liability policy.
Correct. Now, they're supposed to get me, before we have to pass this, it may be less,
Yeah,
but that's what we did, to show you where we're at.
But if it goes down, it's still not gonna be enough to affect that 1.04 very much.
Well, probably not, because if it goes down, it'll probably only be like 25 grand or something. I don't mean that 25 grand isn't a lot of money,
right,
please.
yeah.
But yeah, sure, you're probably right, it's not gonna, it may, a few cents.
And I know you had explained that there are 3 of these lines that are highway department and we have to max. So
We
that's
have to
county
max.
highway, CATV and federal.
The federal matching we do not have to do CATV, okay? And, then the highway, county highway, we do.
You have to, and when you say we have to max, it has to be at this
Close.
rate?
It has to be as close as, I think they allow us like a 10% or 5% variance, but we have to be collecting either 10 cents or 5 cents on those two funds. The highway fund, we can do a max of 10 cents. See, we never know exactly when we levy for dollars, we can't levy for, like, if we could do max of 10% or 10 cents per 100, we can't do the levy that way. We have to say, we're guesstimating growth, like this coming year, we're guesstimating that the equalized assessed value will go from 463 to 492. Okay, and that's what we're basing the levy on. And then the following year, it's gonna be about 505 and a quarter. Over $500 million.
The federal aid matching tax, that's highway.
Yes,
All right.
yeah, and we have to have that pretty close to max. And the 240 should get us real close to it, a lot closer than we did last year. Because remember, the evaluations all went up And we were only asking, we didn't know that they were gonna go up when we passed the levy.
I have to think on this.
In other words, we figured that the levy would only be at like 450 instead, well, 429 actually, and it went up to 463. So we didn't collect, that dropped the percent of the cents on the levy.
So federal aid matching tax is supposed to be.
Should be 5%.
5%. So if our value is at 460, then %5 of that,
See, what you
is that
actually,
what I'm doing the math right?
you're gonna go 479 is what we're projecting the equalized assessed value of the county's gonna be.
So that's 480 and 5% would be 240.
Right.
Okay.
And this next line right here does exceed 5%, so we have to have a hearing.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have one hearing. It'll be on the 4th, before the meeting.
Yeah. It-
Isn't that what we talked about, we haven't said it yet. That's towards the end of it.
And
And the big increases, just looking here, is the tort immunity, which is because of the liability,
In general,
and the general county tax. Those are the two big increases.
right.
so,
How much would we have to get less to not be of the 5%? I
Hang
guess
on. I'll tell you real quick.
5% of the 4 million.
We'd have to be $208,000 less.
That's what you said.
So that from this here, we'd have to cut 200 some thousand. Yeah,
so
And we all need to know this,
right,
okay?
yeah.
how do you, because I'm like looking at lines and it's not, it's just right here, okay, I answered my question.
And technically, just so you know, we could go up to 1.35 million and still be within the 27 cents. It would be legal for us to collect 1.3 million, 3.5 million.
From the general
1.3.
county tax.
Yep.
That makes some people happy.
By the way, the tax increase cost a $60,000 home, based on this, about $64 a year. Now that's, obviously, the farmland would be a different situation, but that would be controlled no matter what. And if you got a $400,000 home, obviously,
What was the first figure on $60,000 house?
63 or $64.
On a $60,000 house,
The equalized assessed value, in other words, if the home is worth,
180,
yeah, it would be assessed at 60.
60.
Right.
yeah.
And there's just not much of a way to generate income.
And that's why, I didn't know whether 911 would be here today asking for funds, but
Right. Yeah.
And I know you.
Safety tax go.
Well, 500,000 at least will be pumped into this budget next year, and 1.1 million will pay for the bonds.
So you got 1.6 million a year on safety tax.
1.5 something. Call me if you've got questions. I mean, I'd rather have you clear, you know, or get so I can prepare, because I don't know all the answers to this stuff, so. But you need to know, so if you don't like something, we can try to adjust.
And everything's already moved into the general fund from different funds that can be legally transferred.
For right now, yes. Now, we could, depending on how we wind up with interest and so forth from the jail fund, we could move the cost of the grant from the jail fund to the general fund. I'm not saying we should do that, but we could.
Say that again.
Okay, we spent $430,000 buying the ground over there.
Mhm.
If we had additional funds left out of the bond issue, the insurance, or I mean, the interest that we earned and other things that we've got coming into that fund, if we got all done with that and had, you know, we got the, what are the different funds that, the 3% we got back would be about $500,000. You shouldn't count on that. We might have enough money to reimburse the general fund for the purchase of that farm ground, and that's where we bought it out of. Okay?
Mhm. Which would give us better cushion.
Right now, we're carrying a cushion of right around $1 million.
You gonna farm any of that land over there?
Yeah, we got a check for $6,300 already for that.
So you won't be
There
able to
should
farm
be
as much.
15 acres, yeah, there's 20 acres altogether and
Okay,
5
so-
acres.
For the 15
I was
acres,
gonna
that's
say,
what
you
it
couldn't
said.
farm all of what you bought, but
Oh, you
I
farmed
thought it was
about
No,
15.
it was all farmable
I
except
knew that, but the jail's taking up part of the.
5 acres,
Right. okay.
roughly, you know, so we're
So
still
about
renting
farms.
15 acres out.
Okay, okay.
You know,
Who farms it?
you and I had,
Not to make any difference, but,
Matt,
Matt Morris.
okay.
and you and I had talked about the discussion about, what are we comfortable having as our reserve?
right.
And of course, I like reserve, especially if it's
Who
invested,
doesn't?
but we've never really talked about
We need to.
that.
Well, reserves. We're not in the business of hoarding money.
I know, it's
Well-
like, what,
I know.
We
and
were-
you all have experienced the really lean times on here. You know, new
The
kid
bank
account.
said that we should have between $1 million and $1.5 million in reserve.
And that's when we were talking about the bond.
That way, if something happens to one of our funds,
You've got some.
for the old rainy day.
I know it's something that we talked about the other day, and I don't know that we've seen that report on the elevator at the courthouse.
Yeah, I keep thinking about that.
You know, we're
We
soon
need
gonna
to
have to
find
do
out what
something
was
with that.
said.
So everybody ever notice the odor of
Ray
smoke in
comes
up?
out,
Ever notice
Ray
somebody
comes out.
complains about, they always smell smoke when they're in the elevator? I never
Yeah.
I've
noticed.
never smelled
I don't know.
I smell it.
Okay.
It's not smoke, it's
It
electric.
says smoke, I didn't think it was smoke.
I thought somebody told the sheriff or Matt that.
Was that what it was?
Oh, was it? Do you know what it is?
No,
The smell?
Yeah, the
It's
odor.
just there's a lot of old electrical
Okay.
switches and
I
relays.
didn't think
And
it's
sometimes
smoke.
people who
They get in
smell
there.
of really rank, cheap
Mm.
cigarettes can get in there and then it
Oh,
just.
yeah, yeah.
I
it.
think it
Just- we
smells
just say
like,
before, I don't care how it smells.
Poop.
no, I think it smells like marijuana sometimes.
Really?
Especially if you're
I don't
going
know,
up
I
Don't you spend
and
much
they
time
use
in
it
there,
up
Brenner?
No, I don't
on the
have,
top
You got
floor.
enough brain
And
problems.
some of the
I can't smell
folks that
it.
come in there, I think,
Sure.
have been enjoying
I don't
the
smell
weed.
anything, cause I can smell anything.
Well, I guess if that's good for
Consider
courthouse
probation
security, because they're
like
melting.
Well, I don't mean they're smoking there. I just mean
You
that
just
they're,
They go in.
that they're
They come
just,
in after they-
it's in their
They
clothes and, yeah. Cause you should, when my granddaughter was born, the parking lot elevators and the little places where you go in to get to the elevators, everybody, oh my God, you go in there and you go,
Talking about the elevator, do they, like when they do an inspection report, do they send you a copy of it?
Every year, we do that.
yeah, they do it in August or September, is
Yeah.
when they do it.
Have you got the August or September inspection report?
We do an annual
I'll be
inspection,
right back.
and then we do monthly maintenance.
Correct,
Now, I don't get a monthly maintenance report.
but you got the annual report.
Yeah, just got it in
Can't
not
smell
too
it,
long
can't hear
ago.
it.
Get that to me, because when I was telling Andy and Jeff, talking to the court security people, they talked to that guy and
That's
he showed
what I
him a
heard that.
video and said, there's issues. I mean, we know there's issues and we've talked about replacing it, but I don't know whether it's got worse, you know, I just we need to know.
Unless
You
it's
still get parts.
Denver.
And this is a company who specializes on elevator
Yeah, that's
inspections.
Mid-America. Now, inspections, is it a private, it's not like the boiler, is it? Where they send
Like a state
a state
inspector.
inspector. I think
No.
it's a private
It's a
company that
private
inspects.
company.
So the
Inspects
state
it.
inspector we're not paying for, but the private company's coming out of here somewhere.
Yeah, building and grounds.
Yeah, we had this past month, a bill, in October, a bill, because there was a problem and they had to come in and repair it. Something was twisted or something, I read in the bill.
There's so much
So
to
would be a
know.
chance to get a permit to sell cannabis in every county.
Hmm.
That everybody goes somewhere else and get it. We're not getting any money.
We voted against it.
I know we voted against it, but
There's
People are
always
starting to
chatter
rethink
about
that
that on
decision.
Facebook.
Was it Martinsville that put one in, or Casey?
Everybody
One
goes-
of them.
Everybody
It'd be
goes
a
to
tax
Charleston.
income.
yeah,
Charleston's-
tax income. Yeah.
Full, my parking lot's full every time you go by it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I was thinking Martinsville or Casey was gonna put one in, I don't know whether they
Talking
did or
about a
not.
cannabis permit,
Oh, yeah,
money we'd make off of it. That we voted against it, I know, but
we still get money from the state of Illinois on
Oh, do
cannabis, though.
we'll get more if we had one in
9,000.
Edgar County, wouldn't we?
If you had a dispensary, you would, yes.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking
Yeah.
about,
I'm
that's
sorry.
what he's talking
So we
about.
get about nine or 10,000 a year.
Yeah, and it's just a statewide, you know, it's based on
How about
population.
those shops that sell vape, did we ever get anything off that, is that a?
I don't think
That's
so.
just a business, right? Okay.
There's 2 or 3 of them in Paris,
Two.
too.
Yeah, they just opened one up, didn't they?
Down by across from the courthouse. Yeah.
By the theater.
And then
Well-
the old Subway.
Take a look and we'll talk about it on Monday morning. Motion to adjourn? For us,
But no,
who broke his arm raising his hand?
Only they were, people
And
were good.
Andy
They
seconds.
were left hand, right.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you.